Governor Eddie Calvo may have implemented a 15% reserve throughout GovGuam earlier this fiscal year, but may need to make an exception for the Department of Education. It was back in 2010 the Education Financial Supervisory Commission was established for the sole purpose of assisting DOE and the Guam Education Board with monitoring and managing financial resources. At Wednesday's monthly meeting, the Commission's projections yielded that DOE will begin to feel the effects of the 15% reserve come mid-July. 15% equates to $30 million or 5 pay periods. Office of Finance and Budget's Chris Budasi.
For the month of May, payroll coming in at 112 mil, operations at 15, for a total of a little less than 130 million. Projecting payroll shortfall at 21.6 million and an operations surplus of 3.5.
At May's EFSC meeting, Public Auditor Doris Flores-Brooks suggested that DOE request a partial release of the reserve and that the agency could make do with a 10% release. Interim Superintendent Tolling Titano tells KUAM News that a request for a partial release has been drafted and will be sent to BBMR this week. Governor's Director of Communications, Troy Torres, says this isn't a welcomed request, as DOE has been the only agency incapable of cutting costs. Torres says he's seen the numbers. Of the $250 million DOE budget, only $175 million makes it to the classroom.
We tend to wonder, what are the priorities of the Department of Education? So, as this 15% reserve becomes an issue, hopefully the department has done its part to cut costs, or at least to finally have a plan to cut costs on superfluous costs and prioritize its resources toward the classroom where those resources belong.
Despite the governor's disappointment in DOE, Torres says he's confident a partial release will be granted. But topping all of the governor's frustrations with the department is their inability to obligate $60 million in ERA funding for capital improvement projects by the end of September. Titano says although projects are well underway these summer months, DOE is requesting this second extension after consultation with U.S. DOE.
We continue to suggest that the governor ask for an extension. We think it would be prudent to leave some money for contingencies. You know, you never know until they start the work.
Sure.
If you know, there could be further problems, and our concern is if we tie up all the money, then there's going to be, I guess, if they find additional problems, we'd have to reduce the scope to cover the contract.
Despite his disappointments in the agency for failure to cut costs and obligate funds, Torres assures DOE that the governor will consider the extension request. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.